The audience liked it. They were waiting for it. We notice when we do our concerts, they're waiting for it to happen. So we constantly try to keep it fresh and come up with new stuff so that I can genuinely break up.
But to give you an example of the whole show working with you, I would talk to a prop man. We were doing a sketch one time. I noticed there was a huge picture of a barn over the couch. And I said to the prop man, can you do me a favor? Can you cut the doors in that barn so that you could actually open them in the picture? And that I could go through those barn doors. Well, they loved stuff like that. Man, there was sawing and things, and Carol had, she didn't know what was going on, so they make this whole thing of the barn doors. And I said, well, I was doing the old man. I got to get going now. And I open these barn doors and go into the picture. Now, that would have been fine, but the prop man also made two tiny doors, like a little hayloft up at top. So then I opened those doors, and they had hay in there, and little animals would come out and go hi, and then I'd take a pitchfork and go ding, and then they started a fire in the barn. Fire in the barn, I mean, it was just they loved to get in on the action like that. So, and one time when we were doing a kind of a nautical sketch, they had a whole tank of water set up that I didn't have any idea. There must have been a ton of water in there. And I said, well, I'm supposed to look out the window and say, well, here comes a big wave, and boom, this water, I mean, it knocked me clear across the stage. So they're going, it's hysterical, isn't it? Could have killed you. But they enjoyed that kind of...
That's what I meant about everybody getting together and having surprises on one another and doing stuff like that. And, of course, all the surprises he had for me. And then this kind of and it's a very subtle thing. People don't want to see performers breaking up per se. They wanted to come out of something that's real, that's something that's genuine and spontaneous. People knew that I wasn't faking these breakups, and we weren't being unprofessional. It was just part of the fun, and the audience loved it. We weren't professionals who had gone awry. We were professionals who were having fun.
We had one sketch that was a detective type thing, and I'm supposed to go out. I'm the butler. I go out the door, and then he has to come and open the door. So I asked the prop people if they would put a doorknob large enough for me to sit on, so that I had gloves on, and I pretended I couldn't get the doorknob open. So I turned around and sat on it and tried to be like a pair of pliers so that I was turning and I was sitting on this doorknob. Now I know he has to open the door, because he comes over and opens the doorknob. Now, I'm sitting there with this doorknob between my legs, and he's left with, geez, do I go for the doorknob? What do I do? So it was situations like that the audience could see that, that was manufactured and it was genuine. And now what are these two morons going to do?
We once did a two-man sub, and that morning he had a vasectomy.
Which I did myself.
That was really wonderful. You took out your own prostate, too. Which
I had a mirror and a Swiss
It's
knife.
amazing how you do that. He saves a lot of money. Health plans are...
Closing is tough. Yeah, that's tough closing.
Anyway, so at one point he had to get on the periscope and slide down and fall to the ground. Well, when he did, and I saw him come down that hard, and knowing the condition of his you-know-what after a vasectomy, he was in such pain. And I remember saying, how's it going? And he went. So, the audience, of course, didn't know. I mean, they knew that he had taken a terrible jar in his privates, but they did not know how bad it was. So, it was just stuff like that. And it just was like week after week, we would have these wonderful things that would happen that were totally unexpected. Really was an extraordinary experience that we did every week, this kind of musical review with brand new music and medleys and wonderful dances and great sketches. And we would do these long satires on movies, some musical movies, regular movies. And I think we were rather remarkable, if I must say so myself.
We were lucky, too, in that even guests on the show, and that included animals, played to us. Carol was singing a song one time in front of a horse, and the horse decided that it was time to relieve itself. So Carol's, no, no, no.
She was doing Judy Garland.
Judy Garland. And in the back, this horse starts to urinate. So the trainer comes out with this huge pail and sticks it under her to catch it. And Carol's singing because she doesn't know what's going on. And this horse is back there going. And then finally Carol turns around and goes, and even the guy who's in charge of the horse comes out and goes,
Takes a bow.
and it's got this steaming pail and walks off. But I mean, even things like that, played right into the show. And Carol said, okay, we're going to pick it up now. Should we pick it up from number 1 or number 2?